Hi, I'm Lorenzo Antonucci from Mob Cops, and you're listening to me on Chanel in this city on iHeartRadio. Tune in.
Everyone, welcome back to another episode on Chanel in the City on iHeartRadio. I'm your host, Chanel Omari, and we have a very special guest today on the show. I always say special guest, but this guy is amazing. He's brilliant, he's talented, one of the best actors and producers and writers in our generation right now. So tune in. You can catch him on hit series like Ballers and Game of Thrones. He's also writing and producing and starring right now alongside David Arquette and Kevin Connolly and Danny A in the new hot movie that you guys have to check out called Mob Cops in theaters and streaming on all streaming platforms everywhere. Please help me welcome our dear friend Lorenzo Antonucci. How are you?
Hey, how are you, Chanel? Good to thank you for having me.
Thank you for doing this. I know that you're a busy man and you're starring in a really see I had the honor to see this movie before it hit theaters for the premiere last year, and I was so impressed by your acting. I really got to say everybody. I mean, shout out to Danny A for directing this movie, who's a good friend of ours, who's always amazing, always giving everybody, opportunities to shine. And yeah, talk to us a little bit about the movie because it's so hot. There's so much buzz around it. Tell us a little bit about it and your role in it.
I play a guy named Josh Hughes based on a real character. We're not going to say no names. He ends up he's a bad guy, that meets a lot of bad guys, and he disappears. And in the story, his mother's been looking for him for a long time and she's never found him. And, 20 years later, these two cops are on Sally Jesse Raphael's show and they're, talking about how they want to break into Hollywood and they got books and they're all like trying to be famous and all that. And that's how she kind of unwinds. Like, that's the last time I seen my son was with those two animals, and here we are. Yeah, I mean it's a great New York story, New York, mob thriller. Danny A did a great job, the writer did a great job, the producers did a great job. Everybody was great. Jeremy, David Arquette, Bo Dietl, Kevin Connolly, Joe Russo. I mean, Montana Tucker, Danny A, everybody. I mean, it's a great cast and it's a lot of fun roles in there, and it's a good New York based on a New York true story. So, it was I could dive into the origin of how I got it and how who
Yeah,
that.
let's talk. Yeah, I want to, for those of the people that don't know, excuse me, the long story short of it, we're not going to give it away, is it's a movie about two dirty cops that are really working with the mob
Yep.
and working with, and there's different storylines that are really fascinating within it. And I think, what would you say the message is for people to take away from this movie? I would say
Well, I mean,
life is dirty.
it's a dirty game, and the people that are playing it, man, you got to be careful who you trust, and especially if it's people that are higher ranks in the NYPD, and this is not like positioning anything on the blue. This is just bad seeds in the soil. There were some bad guys, and it can continue to happen. People get desperate, people get hungry with the money they're making, and they start, getting engulfed in a life that they don't, that doesn't end well for them. And they do anything to keep those extra salaries going because now everything's elevated. There's more money, there's more places. You spend more, you buy your wife more things, you buy this and you buy that. And then when your salary's not covering that, you're like, fuck, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. Am I allowed to curse?
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
Oh,
it's thank God.
so
Yeah, we can.
okay, so you're like, fuck this, I gotta fucking do what I gotta do. And it's a I guess it's a sad thing that's a true story because a lot of people got hurt and a lot of people, killed for nothing by, people that are supposed to serve and protect. It's
Right.
kind
That's so
of
interesting. Right. It's interesting that you say, right, because I think it's parallel to also what we go through now in 2025. You think you're progressing. Obviously, we don't get into politics, but like you think you're progressing and then there's a lot of crime. And it's like you said, I think people have this like moral hierarchy on themselves, right? We all think we're righteous in some way, but really you watch a movie like this and you're like, you got to do what you got to do to survive sometimes. And that's sometimes going to go against a moral code that you're raised with, or, you
Yeah.
know, yeah. So talk to us about the role. Like, how did you get into the role? And I know you do a lot of method. My preference is method acting a lot. Like, so talk to us like how you got into, prepping for the role too, because you did a fantastic job. It was amazing. I don't
Well,
want to give
thank
too
you.
much away.
I really appreciate your kind words, and that means a lot. You know, being from New York, I'm from Jamaica, Queens, pretty much, and a lot of this was based in Brooklyn. I was born in East New York, so I have Brooklyn roots. I live in Brooklyn as well now in Coney Island, but also in LA. But having those roots and growing up with guys in the vein of that, just being transparent, it was easy for me to pull from, you know, my upbringing, to I could kind of channel what those kind of guys are, I grew up with a handful of them that are, they're not here anymore, they're gone, and obviously they're not my friends like that, but they were at the time,
Yeah.
and so I was able to pull from that and just being around in the neighborhoods my whole life. I wasn't in life like that, but I was around guys that were, and I was able to see how they were,
Yeah.
and
I think
yeah,
that the movie's so relatable, and like watching you guys as characters are so relatable as a New Yorker too. I was born in Queens, I was raised in Brooklyn, moved to Long Island, like the five boroughs. You feel like you can relate even if you weren't in that life. I totally agree with you. Like you knew someone in that life or you knew someone associated with that life. So it's even with the accent, like you feel like you're like, I don't know about you, but sometimes I feel like I'm a gangster myself. You know what I mean? You just
yeah,
you're around those people, so that's interesting. That's actually good that you were able to actually be authentic towards yourself. Meaning towards what you grew up around and
yeah.
what the movie needed.
Yeah, I did my research on the character, and there was a little documentary on the story, like a little YouTube doc that was interesting to watch, and the engine behind his character and the reason why he got killed and all that. So I was able to do my diligence and find out some more stuff, and then I just incorporated what you know I grew up around, how they talked, how how I was in some of the situations to see how it went down in when I was a teenager. I've seen it all, it's the real deal. So I seen it. So it's not I lived it, but I lived it and seen it. So I was able to, bring it back from where I came from and realize that, this is kind of how he would act to the way these two cops are talking to him, knowing who I am, and I'm ruthless, don't care about anything, but I do love my mother. I love my mother more than anything, and and only thing that I worry about is what my mother is gonna get when I die. And that's kind of like the piece of the story that's interesting to this character. And there's a crazy torture scene. We don't want to give nothing away, but the torture scene is everybody's favorite, which me and Joe Russo, we kill it.
You guys are phenomenal. I
Yeah.
mean, it was like, you wanted to wait for a Goodfellas movie, one of my favorite movies, and I think
No,
this
no, no,
is
no. Goodfellas is the best movie
yes, yes, you're right.
ever,
Correction. It is the best
ever.
ever. And this reminded me a little bit because we haven't had something like Goodfellas
Mhm.
ever, really, in a long time. And so when I'm watching this, it's like that's kind of the feel that you get. Like you don't get that feeling. You get like chills, in your
Yeah,
spine when you watch the torture scene, especially with you and Joey Russo, and the acting is just phenomenal. I mean, you really feel like you're in there with you, and that's acting. That's what acting is about, right? It's feeling it, it's believing it. Talk to us a little bit about working with Danny A, because this is not the first move, just this is not the first time you guys work together. You've worked together on a couple of things, right?
no, no, no. We become very close. Like we're like brothers now, but we like before that, we never really tried to, or we never got a chance to connect and work together. And um, we slowly started to see each other in a lot of settings, and then we were kind of like, yeah, come here, come there. We started becoming cooler. I met him at my first time ever going to a screening in my life, when I first moved to LA, it was 2014. I wasn't even an actor yet. I was just trying to understand what this game is. And my friend Sean Woods, who I was roommates with, knew Danny, and we went to his screening for the Club Life movie with Jerry Ferraro. And am I saying his name right?
Yeah.
Jerry Ferraro. Yeah,
Yeah.
Jerry Ferraro.
Great
I know.
movie.
I
One of
call him
my, I
fucking
just
Turtle.
watched it. I just watched it over. Great
Yeah.
movie. One of my
Yeah.
favorites too. Yeah.
So I go there and I met him through Sean, and I met my good friend Gordon, people that I met like 10 years ago, 11 years ago, and didn't reconnect with them until later on after passing them by and stuff like that, or seeing them in the business. So when I my last year, no, 2 years ago, I went to Cannes with Gordon because he was like, "You got to go, you got to go. It's great, it's great." And I was just like, "All right, how much is it?" Like, Jesus Christ, it's a lot of money, but okay,
Yeah.
I'll
People, by the way, we're going to get into that. People don't get that like it's money to invest to get
go.
these things to happen. Yeah. Okay.
It's not even it's unbelievable. But so funny story is I want to share this with people who are driven and inspired by acting or inspired to be producers, musicians, whatever it is. That's the hardest game in this place. NBA is the hardest thing in the game, but like TV, film, comedy, music, anything in that space is just so hard, and you work so hard. So I had one of those moments in my life that gave me, we call it an injection of dope. You know what I mean? Like it gave you that dopamine feel like, okay, I can still do this. So I get to Cannes for the first time, and where Gordon's like taking me around, and we're going to like, going to see Brett Ratner. We're going to dinners with what's his face? Uh I'm spacing on names. I hate when I do this. Jordan Belfort. We're going to dinners. Everything's awesome, and I'm like, this is fucking cool. We're fucking, we're here, we're there. I was like, everybody from LA is here. This is cool. Whatever. Then he's like, yo, we're going to Rick Yorn's birthday party, which it was just me and Gordon. We had to go home, change, get dressed for this party. It's on this yacht, and it was like 250-foot yacht. I was just like, what the fuck am I looking at? This is insane. I've never seen nothing like this in my life. And my business partner has a 110 foot. I've seen it, but not like this magnitude of a vessel. I mean, I was like, what am I going on? We go up the ramp. The first person I see is screaming my name. It's Danny A. Lorenzo, what the fuck you doing here? He's standing next to DiCaprio,
A great
right next to
impression.
DiCaprio. And he's saying, what the fuck you doing here? I was just talking about you to Jeremy. I want to fucking get you in this fucking movie. Bop, bop. I'm like, oh, what's going on? I'm like, what the fuck? Are you kidding me? Like that feeling was cool and great and gratifying. The feeling of like, holy shit,
Like
you're with the
someone
best
wants you, and
star.
right, you're not
Yeah,
begging. You're not, because most of this movie
no.
business is like, give me a chance. Let me
Oh,
get,
it's fucking disgusting. But you're with the best actor of all time, one of the top fucking three. You're next to him and you're talking to me. I'm like, what the like I was just a little, it felt like, okay, I belong here. You know what I mean? Like, okay, I'm not doing this as a fucking hobby. And then he was just like, yeah, it's this fucking movie. And then we just started talking. And then he was like, the goat's downstairs. The goat. He's screaming, the goat. I'm like, who? He's like, Scorsese's downstairs. I'm like, what the fuck am I doing here? You're talking about my favorite movies are all Scorsese. I'm a
yeah.
fucking New Yorker. There's not one fucking bone in me that's anywhere else. I am a diehard New York fucking guy. So when you're talking Goodfellas or Raging Bull or fucking anything that's New York, I'm especially Casino. I mean, I love Casino, but
Casino's
especially
amazing.
Goodfellas, I am obsessed with it because it was shot in my whole neighborhood, all over Jamaica Avenue, all over my neighborhood. It's a masterpiece. There's nothing that will touch it. God bless you, Marty, for making the best movie of all time. Nobody can touch it. And people will, they're like, yeah, well, Godfather. Yeah, no, Godfather's amazing. I love it because it's a beautiful family story. But Goodfellas is what I know. That's the fucking people I grew up around, streets I grew up on. Like that to me is a masterpiece. So when you got that, And the best fucking and Danny A is fucking doing fucking awesome. I mean, I mean, the guy is fucking. He just keeps fucking pumping them out, and they're getting fucking better and better. And I'm fucking like so happy for him. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
because he's a man of uh of never giving up.
Yep.
Integrity. I'm fucking gonna keep doing it. I'm gonna keep doing it. I want to make my fucking Goodfellas. I want to make my fucking Mean Streets. Whatever the case is, whatever. I'm just saying, like, so to me, that was like, wow, that was the moment. And you leave Can on some high, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Because you get flooded with a lot of great things that make you, it's like a recharge in the year to go there, make moves, do what you got to do. I got 9 movies being sold there now. One of them I directed. I mean, I'm in one with fucking Tommy Lee Jones now, being sold there. One with me and Jeremy Piven, like, and then all the other ones. Me and Armand DeSanti is still we're waiting for that movie to come out. It's called Oak. Whatever. It's all great stuff, but I don't go there for clout. I don't go there for to be an imposter. I
To
at
be
least have
seen,
things.
right. You
Yeah,
don't
I
go
got
there like as an
things going.
influencer to be seen. That's what I mean.
No.
Like you're going there for real deal. Like I want my
Yeah.
story to be heard.
Yes, I have things there that are real. Mob Cops is probably still being sold in certain territories. So I went there last year, and I'm on FaceTime with Danny and me and Ali, where we
I
went to
love
go.
that. Shout out to
Uh,
Allie. We
Shout
love you,
out to
Allie.
Ali, we love you. Me and my boy Eli. My boy Eli came with us. And we went to see the screening for The Buyers, and it was really, I was like, I had purpose. Like the next day is Saturday, I'm there, and my movie is being screened in this whatever, in the theater for The Buyers, even though it's not like a full on the red carpet and all the glamour and all that great shit of being in the competition, which I would hope one day I'm in something that's a part of that, and I'm working for that, and I'm not delusional, but at least I'm in the my Uncle Joe, he's like my uncle, but he's my father. He's my father's best friend. My father just passed away.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that.
Joe is like my father. He raised me with my dad. Joe says, if you're not in the fucking mix of nuts, how are you going to get picked out? Because people call it networking, and I hate that word.
I hate that word too.
Hate that
It's
word.
like,
I get disgusted when I hear networking because you got an agenda. You're there, oh, I got to go there because this one's going to be there. That one's going to be there. It's disgusting. So to all the people who want to ask me, how do you do this? You got to be genuine. You got to do it right. You got to be a fucking good person and don't have an agenda going somewhere because people sniff that shit out. They sniff it out. Bring shit to the table.
yeah,
Be someone of quality that brings things to the table. You're not sitting there looking for somebody to give you a fucking role or hand you something because you're dead on arrival. So he always says, if like you got to invest in yourself. If you're not in if you're not in the mix of nuts, you're not in the bag of nuts. How are you going to get picked out? And it's a good analogy. He's got the
very
best
true.
analogy, but that's one of them. And I just wanted to shout out Joe. I love you. He, he was my dad's best friend, and my dad just passed away freaking 2 months ago.
Oh, may
93
he
years
rest
old.
in peace. I'm so sorry to hear that. Shout out to your dad because he raised a great son. I'm sure he's looking down on you, proud of you, you
Yeah,
know, which
that
it's
was
hard.
a rough.
I losing someone, I lost my cousin, my first cousin, she was like a sister. It's hard. It's hard to lose people. But what happens is the story gets greater, and unfortunately with the pain, you can come like something greater even for
Yeah,
you, like in the future for a movie about your dad, or maybe one
yeah,
day something dedicated to you and your dad. You know what I mean? I always love those kind of movies, like,
yeah. I wrote a pilot. It's called "How You Doing." It's about my dad and his cat.
oh, that's good.
Name
That's
is Rocky.
awesome.
Yeah, it's a comedy, like three cam. I wrote it. It's called "How You Doing," and it's
If you
it's
ever need a female part, I'm your girl.
yeah. Listen, it's
Bringing
it's New
value.
York. It's in New York. It's like Queens of. It's like King of Queens meets like Everyone Loves Raymond, but
I
like
love
Puerto
that.
Rican Italian culture. Because I'm Puerto Rican too. My father's from Napoli. My mother's from Puerto Rico.
Oh, that's awesome.
So and my mother was killed in Puerto Rico too in a car crash. So that's not give you.
Damn,
Yeah,
Lorenzo, you've been through it.
yeah,
See, most
yeah.
people don't get it. Also, it's like you have this luck, thank God, blessings, but sometimes from those blessings, people go through a lot of shit to get
Oh,
there. Like people don't
100%.
know. They could look at you and be like, he's handsome, he's a great actor, he's smart, he's all these things, he has it all together, he has a beautiful girlfriend, he has money, whatever they want to think, and then they don't realize, wow, that there's also come a lot of heartache and like pain and like shit, that you have to overcome and then to get to the good stuff. That's
It's
crazy. This is like a real, this
beyond
is another
beautiful.
story.
Yeah, that was 20 years ago in 2004. That was the worst.
So how did you get through like all this trauma in a way? How did you not make it an excuse? Because most people make that an excuse, right? Like I'm not going to be a famous actor because this and this happened to me, or I can't get into an audition. And look at you, you're even like making your own movies, even though there's other people who want to work with you. You're never like relying or waiting. What do you do? Like, what's the process for you? Like, how do you get up every day and you're like, I'm not going to let this be my story?
I just do it. I don't stop. I'm out of my mind. I think that Kevin Hart said it best. He said something like, what the hardest thing to do is to put your all into something every day and wake up knowing that you're still in that same spot every day until you kind of inch out of it. And that's what I look at, because I was in a band and I toured the world and I did all that for so long, and that's why I'm in the music business still. But like that was a long journey for me too. Everything takes 10 years, 15 years, and the people that get it fast are lucky. God bless them. But I don't know if that's my journey. My journey has been my journey, and I just want to be doing awesome movies, being do what I do, and be awesome at doing it, and working with my peers, number one, and then working with the legends. And I mean, shit, I got to work with Bruce Willis. I got to work with,
Wow.
I'm in some of his last movies ever, and I got to work with Tommy Lee Jones. I mean, that guy's won an Oscar, so, every, and then obviously David Arquette, you know what I
Yeah, I
mean?
was
Like,
gonna
so
ask, how is it working with David Arquette? I met him in person. He's just a great guy.
he's fucking awesome, man.
He's
I
such a
love David.
great guy.
He's so humble and just cool and
So
just
humble.
he loves wrestling, you know what I'm saying? He knows that I was fucking wrestling at some point, trying to get into the WWE tryouts and things of that nature. And he's just a normal guy, man. And I love that about him. He's so cool and very he's awesome at what he does. And he played a really good New Yorker. And he did it really well in the movie as the cop. And yeah, I have some great scenes with him. He's throwing me in trunks and shit, because they got me all tied up. Yeah. Well, I
Is
don't
that
want to give
ever,
away too much of the movie, but I want to
no,
give
yeah.
little hints, you know
Is
what I
that
mean?
ever weird? Like when you're like love an actor, for example, you respect an actor so much, and then you guys are getting along, and then you have to have scenes where you're opposite, or does that ever get weird for you? Or just that's the name of the game. We all know. We all know as actors you have to play that part. When he's throwing you,
Um,
I'm not going to give it away, but
I I was already kind of I think that I was already kind of like hanging with David, like coming to set before I started shooting. Met him before that. I think I met him a little bit before during a table. I don't know when I met him. Maybe it was a table read. Maybe it wasn't a table read. But I know that I was already comfortable enough to not feel like shy or something. And I just felt like he was. Like we come from the same cloth in so many ways that it's not like I got to be uh, walking on eggshells. But working with Tommy Lee Jones was a different story.
wow,
That was
how was that? How was,
he's exactly like the Marshal. He's
yeah,
exactly like in the U.S. Marshal, or like, what's the movie called? I'm spacing on the name. I'm spacing on a lot of things today.
he's very serious, like a very
Yeah,
serious as he is.
yes. In the Marshal, was it he plays the Marshal in what the
I
hell's
know
the
what
movie?
you're talking about. I'll tell
Oh,
you right away.
movie is amazing with Harrison Ford.
Ha-
Oh,
yeah, I know. I
oh,
feel like
the Fugitive, the
The
Fugitive.
Fugitive, of
Yes.
course. Yes,
So
he's amazing.
he's very similar to that guy, but he's actually, I never really when we were shooting, I was like there was a lot of, things that people were saying that needed to be a certain way and protocol on set. So I just stayed to myself, and when it was time to block scenes with him, I didn't introduce myself. I was just like, let's go, whatever you want, like whatever what time it is. And I think he liked it because he started like getting the sides, and he was like, come on, Lorenzo, this your name? He's like, come on. He's like, carve this word out. He's like, keep the pace going. Let's just keep. And I was like, yo, he's fucking directing me. He's teaching me acting. This is so cool. And I just stayed. I was like, yes, sir. No problem. No
Yeah.
problem. Yes, sir. But yes, I flew in literally in Georgia in the disgusting 95-degree heat. I flew in and immediately was right to wardrobe, right to shooting, and
Wow.
it was an awesome feeling, but it was also intense in so many ways. But yeah, shout out to Tommy. I mean, he's a savage. You know, he's one of
That's
the.
really cool to get to where I think that's like the success. Like for me, when I hear a friend or a colleague or myself, when you're acting alongside great actors, that in itself already is success because it's so hard to already get into a movie or a show, like you said, or create something, and then you're creating it with magical, talented people that have been around for so long and are respected. That's what, like, wow, I'm getting more and more. Because I was going to ask you, like, the audience, we're living a generation with social media now, right? Young influencers, people are making it by just doing, you could call it silly videos, you could call it not cool videos, whatever. But people getting a little bit upset about the hierarchy where a social media influencer will make it as a big actor, whereas an actor who's really like working on the craft for so long, might not get the right opportunities, or they say like you have to be young and hot. I mean, do you believe in all these stereotypes? Do you
No.
believe that you have to be a certain way to make it in Hollywood? Or for me, I love the way you and Danny A are, where it's like you create your own shit, you
Yeah.
make it happen, you don't care. Like I remember one time he said to me, Danny, he was like, you can't care what people think. Like you could be Julia Roberts and you're gonna have haters. So what are you gonna do? You're not gonna please everyone. You might as well just do what, you can't wait on everybody to pick you either. Like, you know what I
Nope.
mean? And that was the greatest advice I got because I'm like, holy shit, you work with the people that want to work with you, and the people who don't, you're right. Like, you might want to work with them for your whole life. They might reject you. But yeah, I want to get your opinion on it because you're such an entrepreneur and I respect that about you. You're such a hustler and I see you also. We've hung out at events. Like, you don't kiss people's ass. You're very authentic to yourself. And I like that. I don't want to have to be a certain way to get a part. You know what I mean?
My take on this
Sorry
whole.
for the rant.
No, no, it's good. I mean, now I can respond, like to what you got, like to touch on two of those things. Like, I don't think that social media influencers become big actors.
Okay.
I don't see it. I haven't seen one of them yet become someone that's respected as an actor and not just thrown into a movie because they have a million followers.
Right.
Right. So that's one thing. So I don't know if they being a social media star and
Hmm.
getting money that way makes you hungry enough to get behind the camera and really practice the craft and go behind like go to classes and start, working with acting coaches and learning how to be an actor instead of being silly on IG, which is great. Everybody thinks that I should have been an IG guy. Funny, I'm funny. I don't care about that. Like, that's not important to me. I don't care about making money that way. I'm not driven by that. I'm driven about being an artist and being able to deliver what is great from the writing and what I can sell with my eyes. So, but like when it comes to like like everybody's told me you got to do this, you got to do that, you should become you would be so funny if you did this, and I'm not passionate about it because yeah, I got some like words of wisdom moments once, every once in a while on my Instagram and things of that nature, but or I'm funny, but I'm not trying to be that guy. I want to be recognized for being real. I'm in this for the long haul. You know, like there's a lot of guys, and I don't want to say names on social media, and they take the Italian culture and they make it look like they make it horrible. They make
Hmm.
they make us look terrible. And that's I don't care what they think, but I just think that it's just come on. Like that's not how we all talk, but that's fine. They make their money. I'm cool with it. I think it's it's eyeballs on the culture, but it doesn't represent who we are, even though we know that's how we talk when we're in the neighborhood, but not to the extent how they, amplify it and make it over they go over the top. So some of those influencers, I don't think that they have passion or they want to be in movies and they're like, yeah, I got a million followers. You should put me in a movie. Yeah, put me in a movie. And then when they're like, yeah, well, you're gonna make $300, and they're like, oh, they don't understand because you know what? You're not nobody in the movie game. So you're gonna go through what every actor had to go through to get to where they are when they're actually valuable in some kind of way. So yeah, I don't know. I don't think that it's the worst way to be positioned, but if one of those guys who were doing their funny skits and they're just on social media all day and all this stuff and whatever, if they were taking acting classes and taking that seriously and then really auditioning for roles and completely compartmentalizing the two. I'm famous for this little window of 700,000 people here, but I want to take this serious and compartmentalize. I think that they would do way better because now they have that platform to work with. This is my eyeballs. But if you take me serious, I haven't seen not one. I don't care how hot they are, girls, from different, any culture, I don't see, they have to be a singer or they have to be something that has art. That's not artists when they're just being like goofy on
Yeah.
Instagram.
I
I could
think,
do that all day. If I did that, I would have had 1 million followers a long time ago. Like I could be a moron all
yeah.
day. Have it in me. They probably taken me from doing it 10 years ago, just organically doing it. They probably take it because I hear a lot of my words out there, things
Yeah.
that I'm older than all these guys. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah,
you
because I
know,
think our culture, even with comedy, it's become like obsessed with physicality. Like, I don't remember the world of Hollywood, and I've been in the game for a long time. Maybe I haven't made it the way I want to, but just doing different works of art. And I don't remember it being this superficial, where it's literally like, oh, you don't have a certain following and you're not that hot. You can't go on stage and make people laugh. It's like, well, I come from Rodney Dangerfield and like like those people weren't, that wasn't about being hot. You know?
Queens.
Yeah, Queens. It's like what's his name? Oh my God, from that Queen show with the two. What's his name? Also, now I'm blanking out. He's
Kevin, Kevin,
Kevin.
Kevin, Kevin, Kevin James.
Yes, Kevin James. Like you remember, those are like the greats. Like you don't remember. So I don't know if you felt this way too with Hollywood in general, like that it's become so youth obsessed and focused. To me, when you tell a story, you can tell a story in any way, really. You know what I mean?
Rodney Dangerfield didn't get on the Ed Sullivan show until he was like 47 years old.
Really? Wow, I didn't even
Yeah,
know that.
yeah, it took him forever.
That's inspiring.
His story is insane. He lived on Austin Street by this bar by my old like up the block from Lefferts Avenue, Lefferts Boulevard on Jamaica. He lived right there above the bar,
Wow.
Austin
He
Hill
was so
House.
great. I loved him so much. I remember watching him and being like, oh, there's not really a like there is no like you can become who you are. What we loved about him, I think, was the authenticity. You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, I think you're right. I think you have to be authentic to who you are to make it. It's not about like making it on social media it's like being just you and like having people love you for the roles you do and the art you create.
Yeah, that's the goal. I mean, mob cops, going back to mob cops, if
Mhm.
it's, you know, I'm hoping and I feel like there's a lot of buzz behind it that the movie will start, be like a nice independent underground, classic, that people it'll get a lot of eyeballs and that'll position all the actors that have been doing it forever. Jeremy, he's been doing it forever.
I
Jeremy's been doing
know.
it
I could
5 years. He deserves his shot. Joey deserves it. Everybody deserves their shot, and Danny did a great job acting in it. He plays one of the lead detectives.
yeah.
Everybody deserves their shot because they work on it. And I just don't know if being an influencer ex, you know, ex expedites the process because of just what you do unless you are creative and actually going to make your own show, or you're going to take the money you make it from being an influencer and shoot your own comedy, putting yourself in a position of you know you have distribution everywhere. You can go and put yourself over making a movie about yourself, shooting a movie, getting a team for 250, $300,000, and then you have all the eyeballs that are going to want to see it because of you, and then it can go viral from there. That's a way an influencer could do it, but I just don't know if that's what they're willing to sacrifice because it's a lot of sacrifice. All I did was
I
sacrifice.
love that you say that. It's a lot of sacrifice. It's a lot of being broke a lot of times without telling people out loud. It's a lot of
Yeah.
embarrassing, prideful moments that you really can't really I feel, from my experience, that you just don't talk about, but you do and you work it, right? And yeah, that's
Just
crazy.
don't give up because it always gets figured out. If you
Thank you
are
for
working
telling.
hard
Right.
and you
Thank you for
feel
telling
like
me
you're working hard making no money,
that.
when there is no money, you're still working hard and you're underwater. Somewhere out of nowhere, just boom, you get covered and you're good for another 2 months. And you're like, whoa, even
Yeah.
with all the bills. I got so many bills. I got
Yeah.
two places. You know what? I don't stop hustling.
Right.
if acting is slow, great. I'm watching, like on my downtime, I'm watching master classes or whatever. I'm not like, oh, I'm not audition, but I'm building other companies. I'm doing stuff with my label, with my artist. I'm managing them. I'm getting them placements, and I'm getting them on the radio. I'm putting out records.
Yeah.
Always working because, you know, if I just sat in a classroom and worked, I wouldn't be able to pay my bills.
Yeah.
And the life I
Realistically.
live, and I got two nice places in the life I live. I don't want to not live that life because I'm going to be broke and sit in a classroom or sit and work at a bar or
It's true.
no. So I go and hustle everything that I want. I do whatever the fuck I want when I want. Nobody tells me what to do, and that's what took me 10 years or 12 years being in LA to really overcome was get myself to a place where nobody tells me what to do. I do whatever the fuck I want. I go where I want. I pay my bills. I get them done. No matter how hard it gets, I always do it. And I'm able to do whatever I want at any given time. And,
That's
you know,
true freedom, though. That's
yeah,
inspiring. That's what our audience should strive to want to be is like self-sufficient with whatever
yeah.
you do, in
That's
whatever you do.
success. That's
And
successful. Like that's being successful because you're healthy, you're out there working, you're making moves, you're always figuring it out. Yeah, it gets stressful. Nothing's easy, but you know what? What's worse than working a day job and wishing that you could take off to go do an audition, or wishing you can go take off to go produce something, or wishing you can take off to go to can and make moves, or or wishing to be in the mix at all. Like. I,
yeah.
I think that it is what it is.
What's your tip for actors, up and coming actors or actors that are established already on how to deal with rejection? Movies they really want, they might not get an Oscar, they might not never get. How do you deal with rejection in this business?
Knowing that you get rejected every day, it's a part of the process. Like, for every 50 no's, you might get one yes. That one yes will lead to other things.
Right. That's no, that's really great advice. Like you have to just accept it. I think it's accepting reality and not dwelling on, oh my God, this person doesn't want me or or taking it personal, right? It's not about taking it personal.
Yeah.
Is there any role that happened to you where you were like, I really wanted that role and it just, they said, okay, it's not a fit for you, but they thought of you for something else?
Um, there was Tulsa King was I was up for two episodes and
Wow.
yeah, and then but I did it. I got pinned, and I was like, it was looking really good, and I didn't get it. It went through, it fell through, and obviously, I remember Sly mentioning, I'm gonna put some good words in there, and what's your, I need the info, and I remember that was a really amazing moment in my life that gave me another shot of dope.
Yeah, I could
Um,
see you and Sylvester
there's
Stallone
a
in a
lot of
movie together.
Yeah, there's a lot of great, moments like that do get, like that do hurt when they don't happen, but it's a part of the process. Again, you're in the mix of nuts. You're in the bag of nuts getting picked. It might not work that day, but 3 years later it might be something, or 2 years later, you just never know.
I love it. Uncle Joey's advice. We need to stick to that. We're going to wrap up really soon. I have a couple more questions from the audience. Talk to us a little bit about producing now. So you come from you're producing other projects. You can talk to us, share us. We'd love for you to share us with us some of the projects you're producing. What, from a producing standpoint and a writer standpoint, what do you usually look for when you're making movies, even with actors, but storylines? Like, what inspires you?
I like a lot of thrillers. I like a lot of I would love to do a war movie, like an old 1940s, like a World War II flick. I love a lot of,
Yes.
war stuff. Obviously mob movies that are really cool, that are done well, they're not janky. I love the horror space. Um, and I like a lot of action. I like the expendable type action movies, the Fast and the Furious.
Yeah.
I would love to do that. Hopefully one day I'll get, casted for something like that, or I'll just make it with, I got a comic book series, that I'm working
I
on right
love that comic book. Yes, bring it
now.
back. My favorite.
We got a bunch of comics, a bunch of IP. Maybe one day that'll be something that I can, get off the ground and finally star in one of those. And there's a lot. It's called Night of the Cadillacs. It's like the Warriors meets Lost Boys. So it's like vampire street gangs.
Oh, that's cool.
That's a lot of stuff. That's a bunch of text messages coming in right now. That's distracting me. But about that. And I love the horror genre. That's a cool genre when they're tastefully done. And I love comedy, I want to do
Yeah, I'd
comedy
love to
one day.
see you in a comic. We're working
Yeah.
actually on a comedy. I feel like there's a great part for you in it, and we could talk about that offline. But like, I feel like you'd be great. You're really funny too with your I also
Um,
think you should be doing when you're talking in the car and the videos every day. You're like, the fuck do these young? I think you talking to the Gen Z generation in the my cousin Vinny old school kind of
yeah.
way. I think that branding, I know that sometimes you don't want to do it but I do think it works for you, because every day you do it and you're like, fuck you, you're 25, you don't know shit from your elbow. But anyway, let me tell you, what's
I think life experience does
life
give you
experience.
that. Life experience will teach you more than experience will teach you better than anybody,
Yeah.
especially, life experience every day. Like you see it in the 25-year-olds, even if they're entrepreneurial and they got like a lot going on, you can see the mistakes that they do, and you can see a lot of the things that are, wrong and but the things that you same mistakes you made and the same things that
Yeah.
things like that and it gets scary, what I mean, because like I see myself in a lot of these kids and they're way successful or something, than I was at the time, and it's just like, damn, what are are they going to be a monster? Nah, 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 nah. So you know
Yeah. I love it. Well, what's one place in the city in LA we should come visit, or when you're in New York that you like to go with like your girl, like a nice restaurant or somewhere to escape, for the Chanel in the City audience to check out?
Shout out to my boy Christian Pascal. He's got Bill's Supper Club. It's on 54th and Madison, I believe.
Nice.
That's like family right there. So that's my brother's spot, and it's called Bill's Supper Club. He's also a partner in Hunt and Fish, which is another amazing restaurant. And I don't know. Me and my girl, we like to go to Lima. It's Alina. I forget. It's in Coney Island. It's right across the street from the Cyclone. It's like Turkish
Oh,
Mediterranean,
nice.
delicious. We just went there. Um, our friend Erica recommended it to us, and I mean, obviously everywhere in New York is
Yeah,
great.
we got to check those out. Anything you
Yeah.
want to share with us? Any projects you're working on right now that we should tune in, that we should check out or wait for?
Well, I just did a movie called Soul of a Sister. It's on BET Plus.
Nice.
Yeah, I play Vito. Cool character, not like a mob guy. I'm just a friend of the family, and it's a good kind of like a Whitney Houston story, like it's a very musical, not a musical, but it's a music element, kind of like Empire Power. It's on BT. It's called Soul of a Sister. That's out now. Mob Cops comes out April 25th.
Yep.
We got the premiere Wednesday. And let me think. I have like 8 movies coming out after. I just don't know the street dates on those.
Yeah, but tune in. They could follow you on social media right now, right? What's your social media so everyone can follow you right
At
now?
at Lorenzo Antonucci Jr. for Junior. So my full name and Jr. I don't have a TikTok. All my other things have TikToks, but not that.
You're
I
gonna
don't
have
do
to go to
TikTok.
movies to watch this man, honey. You're gonna have to go
Yeah,
to the theaters.
yeah,
And there's streaming
yeah, yeah,
platforms. You got Netflix, you got Amazon, you got, that's
yeah,
what the kids are watching anyway these days, more than I think more than even social
yeah.
media.
Yeah, you can go watch Jersey Bread. That's on Tubi. That's on, Amazon Prime and all that. That's a movie I star in with Chris Tardio,
Oh, nice.
Sonny Marinelli, and Jeremy Luke, and Gino Caffarelli. A lot of Irish guys. Um, joking, with the names,
Is there a one actor that you haven't got to act with that you definitely want to, that you're manifesting?
Sylvester Stallone.
Sylvester.
Sylvester
I
Stallone.
could
I
so
worked with
see you.
Rock.
You need to be the next Rocky. What is it
Yeah,
now? Rocky 4 or 5? Look how I'm manifesting. I have good gut feelings. Don't make,
Rocky. I don't know. It'd be like Rocky 7 at this point.
I feel like he would do that. You guys need to do something. You'd be his son.
No,
I could see that
we're
in the movie.
we're friends. You never know. It might happen one day. I
I
don't
could
know.
just see you guys doing a movie together. I could see you being a
Yeah,
lead with him, and I see it for you. I see it.
one day.
I
One
see
day.
I see
Right
a
now,
lot of things for you. I see you playing in
thank you.
Scream 7. That would be a great part role. A lead. I
Yeah,
love
David
Scream.
died. David died in the last one.
David died, so now you're coming in as this.
Yeah,
I took him
yeah,
away, and now it's me.
yeah.
No, I love that. That's my favorite horror like franchise, like things
Oh
that
yeah.
feel real. Like
Mhm.
when a guy, God forbid, can come to your house and like kidnap. Like those are the scarier ones for me. But yeah, like no, you've been amazing. Thank you. I really
Thank
appreciate
you.
everything that you've done for us. Oh, the audience wants to know dating tips. We always ask. You can feel comfortable or not, but like in this industry. I guess, how important is it to be with somebody that supports your career? Or like, do you feel you can be with somebody that like not necessarily agrees with everything you do, but like, I guess what's one tip to have like a healthy relationship?
Um, I think you would want to probably date someone opposite your career business, but supports your business, supports your career 1 trillion% is behind you. I think being kind of like two actors together is rough. I
Mm.
don't think that is a good recipe, you know, but it works or it doesn't, it could be really bad. And again, I think that there's like really good, I guess there's like really good case studies, like you don't want, like to be with someone that's in the same business because then I think it happened to Sinatra, like it happened with him and Judy, what was her name?
Judy Garland,
Uh,
what did they get?
Judy Garland or the other one that he was with and married, that's talking the 60s, 50s, 60s, like think about things like this now is like, social media and, like who's on top and who's better and, like, is one happy with the other. I mean, they show it on the show Barry. They show it like when
Hmm.
when when he starts getting, in movies and he's just going right for for the director, you can see his girlfriend's like, oh my, what do you mean? I've been doing this 20 years. It's like, bro, it's like you're not happy. I suggest don't date an actress or an actor if
I
you're an
agree.
actress or an actor because it's not what I suggest. I don't think that it's a good recipe. I don't think it's a good method. But if it works, it's God bless, But I don't know what the right way to do it. But my dating tips to me is like, find somebody that supports you and that you can have fun every single day with, laughing at every single thing you guys talk about, and zero point 0.0 toxicity, 0.0 arguments. And I think that that's a recipe of a great relationship.
I love that. Lorenzo Antonucci. He's coming out with a dating book soon. Watch out. Watch out, this empire. No, thank you so much for being on Chanel in the City and thank you for being on iHeartRadio. We love you. We support you. You did fantastic on Mob Cops. Guys, check out Mob
Thank you.
Cops. You can pre-order it right now on Amazon Prime if you want, or check it out in theaters April 25th and all streaming platforms near you. Make sure you follow Lorenzo Antonucci for Mob Cops updates, but also for his new projects because he's